We have 4 simple rules. Number 1, we don't discuss politics, ever. Number 2, this is not a religious channel, and while you might hear people say, God bless you, or I'm going to pray for you, or I wouldn't have gotten through this without my faith, that's fine. What's not fine is to say, my God is better than your God, or here's why you're not getting into heaven. It's not going to fly. Number 3, we believe wholeheartedly if you can't control your tongue, then you can't control your life. So while on board, there's not going to be any cursing in the live chat. Period. And number 4, there is no room for mean people on the lifeboat. Because we discuss very sensitive things from people's past in our group setting, we got to protect those people. The only way they feel confident and comfortable discussing those things is in an environment that is free of trolls and mean people. So if you're a mean person or you're a troll, we're going to block you for life. And if your account happens to be less than 24 hours old, we're probably a little suspicious right from the word go. Why? Well, because there are people in this world who enjoy being cruel solely for the sake of being cruel. It's not going to fly here. But if you're here because you're trying to get sober and live your best life, then you might find that the lifeboat is just that, a lifeboat. I'm Captain Tommy Scoville, and we will see you on deck. Good evening, everybody. I am Captain Tommy Scoville, and on the other side of the glass, as always, is my partner, Mark Wages, the captain. So, you are on the lifeboat, people. It is the first day of 2023 here in the good old US of A. For those crew members on the other side of the world, had a head start on us. So, this is just another day to them. But here in the US, this is the first day of 2023, and I don't know about you guys, but there is a weight off of my shoulders, knowing that 2022 is over, and that this year is nothing but potential. Right? This is it's a blank slate, and we can basically turn this into to whatever we want it to be. I'm not going to lie to you, people. I can barely, and I do mean barely, keep my eyes open. I was telling my bobbleheaded partner, I'm consuming really rich coffee, like it's like there's a contest involved. Last night I stayed up really, really late with a lot of you. There's a lot of you that were reaching out, and I really appreciate that. That's what you're supposed to do. Blue, I hope Seventh is doing well. We haven't seen him in a while. Just a little concerned about Seventh. Hopefully he's just taking care of some business. But he is missed. You can tell him that we said that. We miss his dazzling humor, if nothing else. Also, if you come up onto the boat and you pay attention, you're going to see that the boat looks a lot different. We've made some adjustments that you know what, when you do 600 and some odd videos, you know what I mean? And you're constantly doing them, and you're constantly getting ready to do them. You end up with a lot of videos that just sort of accumulate, yeah. And keeping some semblance of order on them becomes difficult. And I think that all parties involved just sort of let it go. And then I got a couple of emails from people that said things like, "Boy, you know what? I love the channel. I wish you were still making videos." And I thought, the hell is that all about? So we have restructured this thing a little bit so that when you pop on here, you're going to see that, hey, there's Seventh. Yeah. Blue said I should do lunges to stay in shape. That would be a big step forward. Ba-dum-bumps.
He's back, people, and back with good humor. So if you check out the lifeboat page here on YouTube, I think that it has been improved upon. I think it's going to be a little bit easier to navigate. And for those of you who are brand new, there really is a lot of gold, that a lot of people don't see. And we've kind of got this restructured now with some playlists and some things where you'll have an opportunity to go and check out some of the early work, um, stuff before we were the boat, or stuff when the boat was brand new and we weren't, yet becoming the live channel that we are now. But it's going to give the new folk an opportunity to get a little bit better acquainted with the boat, so that you don't feel like you're brand new to the party. It'll give you an opportunity to go back and look at some of the stuff that we did that got really popular, and some of the stuff that's really really some good videos. Being true to ourselves, the garbage ones are also up there. We're not going to thin the herd for the shows that we did that we were a little less than proud of. And I've heard people say that, I've never done a bad video. They're all fire. Boy, that's not us. We've done some pretty horrendous videos since we got rolling. It's a learning curve, and some of the stuff we did, we made some attempts that didn't really come out the way we hoped they would, but they're still up there as well. So do check that out, people. I think you'll enjoy the new format. Um, yeah, Lady Fi says, go take a look at the early stuff. Some of that stuff is pretty cool. So 2023 is here, right? It's no longer around the corner, or it's on its way, or any of that. We are smack dab right on the doorstep of 2023. And with that comes some hope, right? Every year that first day of January brings a whole lot of hope. It's that belief that anything is possible. We talked a little bit about it last night. It's a fresh slate, right? You can start from here, and you can start doing everything right, so that you will achieve the goals that you have set out for yourself, regardless of what those goals are. Whether you're working on quitting a subject or a habit, or whether you just want to be a better person in 2023, or you want to spend more time with your family, or get more organized, or any of the things that people have listed off about what they would like to be in terms of being a better person in 2023. Now's your chance. So tonight, before you go to bed, I know every one of you are going to take a piece of paper, and you're going to do a dump. You're going to get rid of all of the thoughts that you have in your head. It's going to do a couple of cool things. Number one, it's going to make falling asleep easier, whether you believe that or not. When you get all of that crap that's parked on your frontal lobe, and you just dump it onto a piece of paper, right? Straight info dump. You're just clearing out the hard drive. And you put that stuff down on a piece of paper, your brain is not going to feel the need to try to work through that while you're sleeping. So you may not get some of those dreams that make you really uncomfortable and wake you up in the middle of the night. So that's a plus. When the sun comes up the next day, you're going to do the same thing all over again. You're going to do an info dump, and you're going to take everything that you got in your brain and put it out on paper. And I've said this so many times, and I'll keep saying it. It might not make any sense, right? You may look at it and go, I don't know what the hell I'm writing here. Doesn't matter. Your subconscious knows what you're writing, and it will help you work through some issues that there really is no other way to work through. So I think that's essential. I learned something else too. If you write us a really, really long comment, and there's nothing wrong with that, by the way, we're not telling you not to. There are times that there's no way to get everything out if you don't do a really sort of a long, drawn out comment. You're not really telling us exactly where you're at and what's going on. And unfortunately, the big red button dumps that into a file for us to look at a later date, because they assume you're spamming us. How they come up with that, honestly, I don't have any idea. Maybe they count the number of words, and over a certain amount or whatever, it gets dumped into this file. I didn't know that file existed. I really didn't. Until last night, early this morning, I was not aware of the fact that there was a file out there with some stuff in there that we need to review before we could post it. And the idea is good, right? It keeps people from talking about, hoping I die of a drug overdose, or any of the other fun things that these people tend to put up in comments. The drawback to that is that there were people asking for help, and because I was unaware of of how this process works, there were some people that, by the time I got to look at these, there were time sensitive things where someone said, something's coming up this weekend, and I'm really stressed out about it, and I was hoping to get your opinion, and you got to come back and go, well, I'd like to give you my opinion before the weekend. I realized the weekend you asked for was in October, but we're going to give it to you anyway. So from this point forward, I assure you people that we're going to do a better job of looking at the site and of making sure that it's just a lot to do, right? I don't think any of us really need to shoulder a lot of blame for this, because we're kind of living and learning at the same time. This is our dynamic here is so much different than anybody else's on YouTube, that it's a learning curve like anything else. But I think we're in a pretty good spot now going into 2023. And that's important, because 2023 is going to be the year of you. So we're all going to make some changes that are going to make this the best year of your life. And this is not a rah-rah speech. This is a stone cold fact. Plain and simple. This year is going to be the year of you. This is going to be the best year of your life. Not a rah-rah, not a motivational thing. This is a fact. If 2023 is not the best year that you have ever had, shame on you. It's your fault. For real. There's no breathing room on this. There's no, well, this came up or that came up. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what comes down the pike or how ugly 2023 is going to be. The greatest year of growth you're ever going to have is going to be in the next 365 days, because you are going to do some things that are going to change your life. You're going to do some things that are going to equip you to cope with sobriety. And just as importantly, if not maybe even more importantly, you're going to learn some things and some coping skills that are going to allow you to be a better husband or a better wife, a better mother or father, a better sibling, just a better human being. And we talked about this stuff, and we hint to it, and we joke about it, and we beat on it, and we crack jokes. But here it is. We're in 2023. So tomorrow, when the sun comes up and you get out of bed, you will be faced with the decision. First day of the rest of your life stuff. That decision starts tomorrow morning. What are you going to do? Right? When that alarm goes off, what's your plan? So I got a question for you. And this is not flippant. I really want you to consider what I'm about to ask you. What have you done every day for the last, 1,000, 2,000 days, whatever the case may be? What do you do every single morning when you get up? And don't tell me it's different all the time, because you know what? That's not true. It's not. We're creatures of habit. You may decide to do something different once you're up and about, days wide open. But what you do to get your feet out of that bed, onto the floor, into the bathroom, cleaned up, and downstairs for that first cup of coffee, that's a routine. And it's a routine that we can very easily take for granted because, well, this stuff's not important. I mean, what happens once I get downstairs and I start, sort of looking at my day? Well, that stuff's important. This stuff here, no, this is just, this is just getting out of bed, right? This is just the start of the day. It's the most important thing you could ever do. True story. So you want 2023 to be the year of you. Here's what's going to happen. Tomorrow, the sun is going to come up. The alarm is going to go off. The cat's going to wake you up. Whatever it is that every morning at about the same time gets you out of bed. As opposed to leaving the room, you're going to turn around and you're going to make that bed look like somebody didn't sleep in it. It's an order. There's no other way to say it. We try coaxing people. We try making recommendations to people. So we're just going to lay this out. You want 2023 to be an incredible year? Make your friggin' bed. If you don't think it's going to change things, then but take a little time. Buy a couple of books. There's about 3 of them out there. A really good one is called Make Your Bed. You could buy that. It's a book that you can knock out in about a day. It's a very, very small book. And we've gone over the reasons for this before. It is organization, right? It is setting a goal and sticking to it. It's getting on a routine and sticking to it. It is everything that addiction hates. It's everything addiction hates. While you're making that bed, you're not expecting to get anything out of it. It's not the, well, I'm going to make my bed, and the dope man said if I do, he's going to give me 2 free bags, or, this guarantees me a job. No, this guarantees you that you can begin to take control over your life. If you walk out of that room and your bed's not made, I promise you, you're not reaching your full potential. That may sound really stupid to you, and I'm going to get somebody that's going to send me an email today that says, "Do you know that Steve Jobs never made his bed?" Yeah, well, I don't know. Somebody, you'll tell me that somebody really famous didn't make their bed. And then I will respond by telling you that 99% of all successful people make their bed. They do. They make their bed. It is the start of the day. It is what sets the tone for what's going to happen for the rest of your day. Now go downstairs. Well, I'm not a guy that eats breakfast. You know what I mean? I just don't do it. We'll do it in 2023. Once again, let's use the Q barometer. Did you do this when you were using? Okay, then stop doing it. Did you not do this when you were using? Okay, good. Let's put it on the list. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that the vast majority of people on drugs in this country don't make their bed in the morning. Simply not important. If you're a drug addict, and I mean you're living in the life, because we're all drug addicts, but if you're practicing, if you are a drug addict that is in the life, there are things that you do every single day, and all of them are only done for one reason, and one reason only: to ensure that you're going to get dope. So you wake up in the morning and you think, should I make this bed? Whether you subconsciously think about it or whether it's right there and you consider it. But the question in your head is this: is this going to get me, closer to my goal? And the goal is what? The goal is to have some dope in you by noon. Is making my bed going to do that? Of course not. It's going to slow you down, right? It's not going to make that happen. So now let's start with it. So the bed's made. Now what? Now get into the bathroom and clean yourself up. And if you're one of those people that say, you know what, honestly, I only shower maybe 2 to 3 times a week. Not anymore. I have a big question here. Why would an addict miss a methadone dose at a clinic? Well, there's a lot of reasons that an addict would miss a methadone dose at a clinic. And I've been that addict. Very often, the number one reason would be finances, right? If you're going up there, especially say on the day that you're supposed to pay, and you don't have your money, they're going to put you on something called financial detox. They're going to cut your dose down in half at a minimum. They're going to try to get you down to 40 milligrams. Now, if you've been doing 160, 180 milligrams a day, well, 40 is not going to get it done. It's going to leave you very much wanting more drugs, which, is what methadone is supposed to block from happening. That's a reason. One of the other big ones is the epics, right? Or the screw it's, where you wake up one day and you just go, you know what, man, screw it. I drive down there, I wait online with, 100 other people, and they're not like me, right? These people are junkies, man. These people are drug addicts. I'm just a guy that's having trouble, but I got to stand online with these people at 5 o'clock in the morning, waiting for the doors to open. And man, I just can't do it anymore. That's the reason that so many people say, I'm not going to do it anymore. And it may sound ridiculous to you, but I can assure you that that was one of the big driving forces for me for why I said, you know what, I'm not going there anymore. I'm not. And the sad thing is that for that addict to try to explain this to somebody who has not lived that life, it's simply going to confuse the hell out of them. Bottom line, this is why group therapy works. We will understand why somebody misses that, right? The rest of the world will not. And I would be really curious to ask you, the person that missed this dose at the methadone clinic, is this a friend of yours, right? Is this a loved one, or is this you? The answer will change somewhat depending on who it is we're talking about. Because if the answer is you, and if you missed that, then deep down, you know the answer to that. You may be trying to talk yourself into the fact that you don't know the answer and that it doesn't make any sense to you. But truthfully, you know why you missed it. Now, if it's a friend, that gets to be more difficult. It really does, because seeing inside the mind of anyone is difficult. Seeing inside the mind of an addict is almost impossible. It's a very difficult thing to do. By the way, people, to each and every one of you who share these videos every single day, God bless you, man. You did wonders for us in 2022. And there are some of you who honestly don't ever miss one. And you know who you are. You never miss sharing this video out to as many people as possible. And it's the reason that the boat is growing. It's the reason that the boat is growing in an organic way. I was accused, not directly, but somebody wrote something about me in on another chat, and somebody got it back to me. And they were talking about certain things that we do, that we do here, and the reasons that we do them. But what it really boils down to is, very often our subconscious will run rampant on us. Our subconscious will make decisions that don't seem to make a lot of sense until you sit down and really evaluate them. Somebody doesn't go to a methadone clinic, or somebody doesn't go to a Suboxone clinic, or somebody doesn't take their strip because they would like to get high. You can church that up. They can convince themselves 800 different ways that that's not the truth. But it is. When you start saying, screw it, I'm not going in there anymore, it's because it's not working for you. See, you assumed, you being the editorial you, not necessarily you personally, but the individual thinks, man, I've been on this stuff for 3 months. My life's not getting any better. I still got a dealer. I still got to show up first thing in the morning and get this stuff. And now I'm paying and I don't feel any better. Why am I doing this? It's a waste of time. And you'll start talking yourself into that hole. Lady Spellbreaker, thank you so much. I'm so happy that you're here. Great insight. Truthfully, I stopped by her page the other day. A lot of really cool stuff going on over there. There really is. You people should stop by and check it out as well. Really, really cool stuff. But it's a tough question. It really is. And the answer varies a lot depending on who that person is. But if you want 2023 to be the year of you, and you have to, right? You wouldn't be here if you did not want this year coming up to be the one that changes your life. You understand? That changes your life. AKA Heather Joy sent me. Aloha, everyone. God bless. Much love. Steve, really glad that you're here. We love Heather. She's an absolute, rock solid member of this boat. So you're in really good company. If 2023 is going to be the year of you, right? There are going to be things that you do. Making the bed, hell of a start. It's the reason we bring it up, because it's the first thing you can do every single day. Then what you're going to do is you're going to put aside minimum 1 hour a day. That 1 hour a day you are going to spend concentrating on the new you. You're going to spend 1 hour a day concentrating on what it's going to take for you to get to the finish line, for you to get to a point where you're not doing drugs and you're happy about it. 1 hour a day. And it's amazing, because when you say this to people, I get people all the time that say to me, man, I got that kind of time to put into this. I just don't have an hour to spend on that. You got 2 hours to go out and steal stuff to get money, to sit in a parking lot for 2 hours waiting for somebody to come and drop off dope. Then you got to take a half an hour to 45 minutes to find a vein. And then you got to lie to people for 2 hours about how you're not high. But to come up with 1 hour a day to help work on your sobriety is something that you can't pull off. Here's a really good idea for 2023. Stop BSing yourself. Stop lying to yourself about who you are and about where you are. In 2023, take responsibility for the things that you've done and stand up and scream as loud as you can who you're going to be, not who you want to be, right? Wants have a way of not quite coming true, right? What are you going to dedicate yourself to being in 2023? And you don't have to become Elon Musk, right? You don't have to You don't have to start a company called PayPal and be worth $1 billion in the next 12 months. But what you need to do is get sober. What you need to do is stop hurting the people around you. Whether that's a significant other, whether it's a child, whether it's a mother or a brother, whatever the case may be, the people that suffer in silence because of our addiction, let's do them right. Let's change all of that in 2023. If you have some New Year's resolutions written down, God bless you. If you don't, if you say, well, I'm not one of those people that does New Year's resolutions, because they never really come out and they never really work. Okay, I got one for you. And I don't care whether or not you like it because you're going to do it anyway. The New Year's resolution for 2023 for every single crew member on this boat is to become a better you. And that means you're going to be more of a support to everybody else on the boat, right? You're going to put your sobriety in front of everything else. And I'm guilty of this, people, massively. Perfect example. I can barely keep my eyes open. Before we got rolling today, my bobbleheaded partner said to me, boy, man, you don't look good. Well, I'm probably not. I think last night I went to bed at about 3. And because of the things that put me into bed at 3, I was good for another hour and a half before I could fall asleep, because I was working through my problems and a lot of other people's problems. And I'm not complaining about that. I'm really not. But for me in 2023, I've got some goals, and I have no problem whatsoever telling you about them. In 2023, I would like us to tighten up our game on the lifeboat. I think 90% of what we do is excellent. I really do. I think we put out a really, really good product. I think that the message is awesome. I think that that all in all, even technology wise, we're doing a damn good job. Where the rubber meets the road is our ability to interact with people who need us, and that's going to require that. That's going to require that the lifeboat, group here on the big red button is smoother, right? It's going to have to be one of those situations where if somebody leaves a comment that says, I'm really nervous about this, or I've got something coming up that's really messing with me and it's making me think that, I might want to do drugs. And this kind of happens to me every year right around Halloween. I don't know what it is, but every Halloween I start thinking about doing drugs. Man, I could really use your help. If I get that message in December, well, then I'm a pretty lousy captain. And that's kind of the the crux of what's been going on. I have not been doing a very good job of making sure that all of these people that try to get a hold of me can get a hold of me or can get a hold of Mark. I don't like the idea that there are going to be messages sitting places that we don't know they're there, and that's on us. This is a live and learn thing. Mark's got a ton of experience in YouTube, and not taking anything away from Wages World, because I love it. But you don't get a lot of people from Wages World who say, you know what, I may not make it to Friday because of this space weather stuff. You know what I mean? It really is. There's a lot of philosophical debate there. There's a lot of people who are really intelligent that are talking about some pretty wild subject matter, and it seems to work really, really well. But if you were to miss somebody for a couple of weeks, right, it's not the end of the world, right? It could very well be the end of a life if we do it here. So we're going to tighten up the lifeboat. We are also going to put some things into place that are going to make it easier for all parties involved to not only stay sober, but to spread the message of what we do here. And that I know that that's just as important to Mark as it is to myself. But that's where we're at. That is where we're at. So I would love to challenge you, all of you, to take a good hard look at where you're at right now and say, what things can I do better in 2023? The number of people that are just going to cruise from 22 to 23 making no changes whatsoever, 100% convinced that they've got it together. I got news for you. You don't have it together. I don't have it together. Mark doesn't have it together. I've never met a recovering addict that has it together. You might think that they're out there. I'll get an email tonight. No, I got an uncle, I got a brother, I got a father that, man, he has got it together. No, he doesn't. Sorry, doesn't work that way. You know what having it together means when you're an addict? It means you got the five. You know exactly who to call when things go bad. But if you don't think that things go bad, then you're on your fourth day of sobriety, right? You haven't been doing this very long, or you're just a jackwagon, right? You haven't really thought any of this through, and you don't really have a handle on just what an amazing thing it is that we're trying to do.
It's difficult.
It's so difficult, isn't it?
It is. It is really difficult.
And there's not a lot of people that respect it either.
Well, and I'll be the first to say that 100% that I make mistakes, and it's those of us that can admit that and move forward is where we really succeed in what we do. You can't sit back and just think that you're doing whatever you're doing, and it's if things are falling through the cracks, people got to know, and we got to make sure that we address it. And sometimes, guys, like I said, I've been doing YouTube for in my opinion, a long time, for as long as YouTube's been out there. Sure. And I would 100% go to the mat with Tommy with this one this is so much more life affecting in the now than what Wages World ever will be. Space weather is space weather. Okay, it's been here since the day that this planet was here. So, we're going to get whatever we get space weather. I mean, we could talk about that all day long. It's a very complex subject, and it's something that, it's just something I grabbed a hold of. But what we do here is something that affects people's day-to-day life. And I would 100% agree with everything Tommy said there. We've got to do whatever it means, whatever we got to do to make sure that people are getting taken care of. If comments are being missed, if things are getting stuck in a place that we can't see them, or
didn't know about it.
Yeah, it's that kind of stuff is, and let me say this too. It ain't gonna matter if we do YouTube for 1,000,000 years. There's going to be stuff that we don't know about, but we have to keep trying. And it's not something that we can just sit on our hands with and just and I think in season 1 we really went through a lot of learning there. I mean, that was, and I also don't want to negate the fact that we did a lot of good things there too. We really did. I mean,
sure.
we really helped a lot of people, or we still wouldn't be here. I mean, if it wasn't working at all, we wouldn't have never made it past season 1, period. And the things that we did helped a lot of people, and we got a lot of good response, and it did make me and Tommy see the importance of what we were doing. And we came back together and did what we did. We never really got apart. It's just we just stopped doing the show for a month. And again, there's things that I can do well, there's things that Tommy can do well, and there's things that we both can do well together. And then there's also things that I have no idea about. There's things that Tommy has no idea about. And those things sometimes are the same thing. So when that's the case, that stuff gets missed. It's just what it is. And like I said, concentrating on comments and making sure emails and stuff are being this, that, the third, that is definitely something that we really need to make sure that we're trying to do the best that we can. The structure of the channel, that kind of stuff is important too. It really is. And there's a lot of different ways that you can do a channel. You can structure it, and I looked at it and it looks good. I'm not sure, did Fee do that? Is that
that was Lady Crispin. She did.
She did a really good job with that.
I think so. I'm pretty proud of her. I think she did
it looks really good.
Did a great job, and I think you make a good point. There's one of the things about doing something like this is usually the way you figure out that you're doing something wrong is because you figured out that you're doing something wrong.
Right.
There really is no sort of handbook. The fact that really long comments get flagged and put into a category for us to look at. It's not the same category. So keep in mind, people, there's a lot of people that come by here and say things like, I can't wait until Captain Tommy is found dead with a needle in his arm. Like, we get that one all the time.
Right.
And those go into a completely different place. And we go over and check those because we like to see who's smutting me up and check to see which names they are so that we can maybe keep an eye on them in the future. Unfortunately, that's not where the other ones were going, right? They were actually going into what they call a spam file, and I was not aware of the fact that there was a spam file.
That's news to me too.
So
I didn't.
Yeah, I think for all I know, it could be brand new, right? They make changes very quickly. By the way, thank you so much. Was that who donated? I didn't want to miss that donation.
That was I'm sorry. I highlighted it. I had it up there. Steve Holoa.
Steve, thank you so much.
Yeah.
I believe that's from Heather Joy.
I think if you guys remember what I said 2 weeks ago, remember the changes they were making with the spam?
Yeah.
They were going to give themselves the ability to do mod stuff. They're allowed to make moderator decisions. YouTube gave themselves that ability now. So you have a bot doing moderation and we can't even see it. And that it's ridiculous. And that's something that me and Tommy have no control over that at all. And if it's getting thrown into a spam file, it sure as heck would have been nice for them to say that. You know what I mean? I just don't understand that kind of stuff. Why they do those things? Because what we're doing here, we really do try. I mean, it's like today we were having issues with some memberships. People didn't understand the memberships. Tommy texted me. What did I do? Immediately, trying to help. That's what we do. And so when things fall through the cracks, we really do feel bad about it. And because people, I definitely don't want to be the fault of anybody. And I know Tommy doesn't either. And it weighs on us both. And you could see it Tommy's face today. I had no idea he was going through any of that until I got on today with him today. And, he tries not to worry me either. I know he does. I know he does. Because he knows I have a lot going on right now. I've been talking to him about some things in my life. And so I get it and I appreciate it. I love him like a brother. And he knows that. And that's the thing. I have no pride. I want everybody to understand that. So if I'm making a mistake and somebody says, hey, dude, you're making a mistake, I'm not going to get mad. He knows that. I don't get mad over that. I just try to roll with it and keep moving. And
right.
And I'm always game to learn something. In season 1, I made a lot of mistakes. I did. I was learning. I really was. And in some levels, I was biting off more than I could chew. I was taking on way too much that I couldn't handle it. And, that was one of the things that we discussed when we came back. And, we really have handled it, I thought, I think pretty well. We've made the changes where we're doing things and now we need to adjust a little bit more. And that's just what we're doing. So I don't want you guys to think it's anything. Please don't think it's anything you guys are doing. We want all the emails. We want all of that stuff. And I've been trying for a long time for people to email me more. And I know why, guys. I know, because Tommy's face is there, and I'm sorry. I know it adds so much to Tommy, and I hate it. I feel so bad about that sometimes. But my anxiety, I've been talking to him. It really does. It rips me up, guys. And if you guys are having issues, I will help. I want to help. And I don't know what else to say. It gets me kind of emotional. It really does, because I love Tommy and I love all you guys, and I don't know. I just don't want anybody.
No, well, you know what? No, and I don't think it. And I don't think. And I don't think that's where it's going. I think where we really want this to come out. The takeaway from this is this: this is going to be everybody's best year, and we're paying attention on what needs to be done on our end. Right? It's something that we're taking very seriously, and I think it's working. I really do. I think the program itself is getting better. I think that the page is getting better. Everything we're doing is moving in the right direction. And the reason that we bring that up is because I mean, with all due respect, if we're doing it right, then the ball lands where? It lands in your court. And if this is going to be the best year of your life, there is going to be a tremendous amount of responsibility that you have to take. We have always said that it's a disease of choice, but damn it, you own it. You own it. You own the choices that you made that put you there. So in 2023, you can own all of that and then go, that's there, right? It's mine. I'm not shying away from any of that. And here's what I'm going to do going forward, which means I'm going to get up. I'm going to make the damn bed. I'm going to make lists of things that I want to do and how I want to be better. I'm going to have a list of 5 people that I'm going to call when things start getting bad. I'm not going to give a phone call to somebody on there and say, hey, guess what? I relapsed. Those phone calls hurt because the first thing we're going to say is, man, really? You couldn't get a hold of anybody, right? You called all the people on your 5 and didn't get one of them on the phone. Is that how that worked? Everyone in 2023 is going to take responsibility. And we just told you the responsibility we're going to take on our end, right? We're going to make it better. Every single day, we're going to make it better. We're getting better at this. Now it's up to you. And the things that we talk about all the time, the things that we beat into the ground, we do so for a reason. So let's start with let's start right at the top. Make your damn bed, right? Make your bed. Have a plan for what you want your life to be in 2023. Because if you're just going to coast through this and think, you know what, I would like to get through 2023 without getting high. If that's your goal for 2023, people, that's great. I'm proud of you. Honestly, good stuff. But you're missing the boat. And I mean hugely missing the boat. It really is not, the use of drugs is a symptom. Abusing drugs is a symptom. So in 2023, what you need to do is start a new life, right? Start creating memories that are going to drown out the bad ones. Start making lists. Start writing things down. Start journaling. Start doing all of the things that, with all due respect, we have spent 600 videos, right? 600 videos talking. And for the most part, there's only about 4 things we beat on constantly again and again and again. And it's astounding when people say to me, yeah, I don't do that. Really? Why not? I mean, do you think we're lying to you? Do you think that this stuff doesn't work? Damn it. Get a book and start journaling in it, right? Start journaling. Do it at night. Do it in the morning. Plain and simple. If you feel like you're uncomfortable in your own skin, right? There are things you can do to help that. The first thing you're going to do is not call the 5 people on your list. That's not a good idea. Honestly, the first thing you're going to do is go, okay, this room right here, it ain't working, right? I'm feeling uncomfortable in my own skin. These 4 walls got to go. You get up, you walk around outside, right? You do something that gets all of your senses engaged. Does this sound familiar, people? I really hope it does. If it doesn't, this is your first time here. But these are the things that we talk about again and again and again. And it's absolutely amazing when someone will say, hey, I relapsed. Okay. Did you go for a walk? Did you get out of the situation? Oh, you did? Good. Then who did you call? Well, I didn't call anybody. I mean, I walked outside and I felt good for a few minutes and then it started feeling weird again. So I started drinking. Okay. Don't be shocked. There is a game plan. If you follow this game plan next year at this time, next year at this time yesterday, we're going to have a bunch of people saying, you know what? First year sober or second year sober, right? This is my second January 1 without ever having to, to say that I used or I relapsed. The tools are here for you. They are in place. Not to toot our own horn, but I think Mark and I have done a really phenomenal job of laying out a roadmap. If you want to be sober, you follow this roadmap. If, however, you don't follow this roadmap, you can reach out. You can say, you know what, Tommy or Mark or whoever, you know what, I screwed up. Really, what happened? Well, this morning, no. You didn't start screwing up this morning. Don't BS yourself. Right? Start paying attention to the things we talk about every day because they mean something. right? Words mean something. If this morning you woke up feeling bad and thought, this is the day I'm going to get high, when do you think you started screwing up? A week ago? 2 weeks ago? Right? A month ago? I don't know. But you could pick up that damn journal and you can start flipping back through it. And you know what it's going to do? It's going to tell you exactly when you started screwing up. This isn't busy work. Zen Wen, thank you so much. Congratulations. Cemetery 76. Love it. I really do. I love it. But people, the reason we ask you to do the things that we ask you to do is not busy work. It's because people smarter than me and smarter than my bobble-headed partner came up with these things and they work, right? They got me sober. They got him sober. And there's a lot of other people who got sober through this. I hate putting him on the spot because he's a good friend of mine, but ask Alan Ballantyne what happens when you start following all of the instructions on the boat, because he's vicious with it. He's vicious with it. He looks at everything that we talk about and he implements it. And we don't keep score. Wow, this person's doing so much better than you. Like, that's not what we're talking about. But what I'm talking about is get a look at a guy who says, here are the goals I put out in front of me. By the way, I hit every one of them. And then I started feeling a little uncomfortable in my skin. So I began walking 30 minutes every morning before I go to work. And here's what has happened to me because of it. And we hear these things, right? We hear all these things from people who say, I started following all the game plan that they talk about on the boat and things went fantastic, right? And you listen to that and then you go, yeah, I'm not going to do that though. You know what I mean? I'm not going to do that. It doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. Just because it works for everybody else, it's not going to work for me. People, we've talked about this on other shows multiple times, but there was a period of time in this country, right, and in this world where it was commonly believed, and doctors back this up, that if a human being could break 5 minutes on a mile, if they could run a mile in under 5 minutes, so they were into the 4-minute mile, it would probably kill you. They didn't believe the human body was capable of that, right? Until a guy named Roger Bannister did it. And when he did it in every single way they said you couldn't, right? It had to be done on a dry track. Can't do it in the wet because the wet's going to screw you up. And if there's any wind at all, and there shouldn't be, but if there's any wind at all, it needs to be at your back for the final home stretch, because the adrenaline's going to be kicking in there and you won't be fighting the wind, and that's going to be the best chance you got. And if all of those things are perfect and the temperature is at a beautiful 58 degrees so that it's not too cold, but it's not too hot, and your muscles won't be too cold, but they're not going to be overheating, and that will happen. If those things are all perfect, then someone might be able to pull this off. Instead, he did it on a day that it was raining. There was also no crowd because they said it would take a very large crowd cheering him on because that will drive the adrenaline. Well, he did it with almost nobody in the stands because it was raining. Nobody showed up. Windy, forget about it. Both ways, whether he was running away from the starting line or he was running toward the starting line, the wind was sort of going around in circles. And hold on one second. So once he did it, right? Once Roger pulled that off, within the next year, about a half a dozen people did it, because then it was known that it was possible. Once people believed it could be done, a bunch of people started to do it and do it fast. Well, I'm here to tell you, people, that the Alan Ballantynes of the world, who are following a certain game plan, who are becoming successful, have proved that this will work. You want 23 to be the year of you? Follow the damn roadmap, right? Don't call us lost and say, man, I don't know where I am. Did you follow that roadmap? No. Well, there's a shocker, right? You turned off the GPS and now you're confused that you don't know where you're at. Well, that makes a lot of sense. Obviously, you're not going to get to the finish line if you don't follow the game plan. I just dropped something really important. I'll find it later. So, question. So what is getting high a symptom of? What needs to change fundamentally? Andrew, that's the question, isn't it? Right? That is the question. So I can use me as an example. I was a fairly successful kid growing up. The sports that I did, I was very successful in. Almost everything that I tried, I was pretty damn good at. Particularly swimming, skiing, football, things like that. I really, really excelled in. Uh, However, I came to believe that that I wasn't very smart. I came to believe that I had a learning disability, and that learning disability made it very difficult for me to compete with others in the arena of thought. Right? I believed myself stupid, and I got very poor grades because of it. Now, I didn't get D's and F's and things like that. I just didn't get anywhere near that honor roll. And in the town that I grew up in, being on the honor roll was not so much for you. And I'm not picking on Papa Scoville or Mama Scoville, but when the newspaper came out and listed what kids made the honor roll, the kids weren't reading it. They didn't give a crap, but the parents did. And it became this sort of badge of honor thing that my kid was on the honor roll. You know, how did your kid do? And this was a lot of pressure, and it really, really bothered me. And on top of that, because it was the 80s, I truthfully believed that we weren't going to see 35 years old. The the teachers that taught me every day at study hall, first period, they would say it's 10 minutes to midnight on the atomic clock, right? The doomsday clock. We're this close to the world ending. And they told us day in, day out, time and time again, that we were not going to see 35 years old. And the combination of those things, the fear of inadequacy and the fear that I lived in a time where I was going to die in a nuclear war, for me, those were the symptoms. And it became a really good excuse if somebody said, oh man, I heard you got, your grade point average was a 2.0. Man, you got all C's? What are you, stupid? I could go, no, I'm stoned, right? Yeah, you guys might have got good grades, but I was partying, man. You know what I mean? I was stoned every day in school, and I still managed to get that. It became an excuse for me for feelings of inadequacy. And then the older I got, the more insecurity really became that driving factor. I did not have a lot of faith in who I was, and I was really insecure. I was insecure around friends and around women and around everything else. And drugs took that away. The feeling of insecurity was taken away by drugs. Make no mistake, you don't get high because you want the drugs to give you something. You get high because you want the drugs to take something, right? What are the drugs taking away? And unfortunately, Andrew, it's different for everybody, right? That is the $1 million question. It's also a question that you can't answer while you're using. It won't work. So you got to get the chemicals out of your body so that you can think logically and you can sit down and link together some thoughts that are going to make sense. And you can start to evaluate, what is it about me that makes me uncomfortable in my own skin? What is it about me that drives that overwhelming feeling that I got to be wasted if I'm going to be comfortable? But that's what we mean when we say that the drugs are a symptom of something else. Gambling, symptom of something else, right? These people are so stressed out in their normal life, and there's something that lacks excitement or whatever the case may be. But when they begin to gamble and that money is up there and you're waiting for that 5 seconds that the ball is going around in circles and jumping, and for that 5 seconds, right, the dopamine starts rushing. And if that ball comes to rest in a number that you've got to buy on, right? You've got your chip on 19 and it comes up. Now the dopamine floods. And for a brief second, you feel whole. Now, what do? You place the next bet. This is why gambling addicts will sit at a table, and in a very short period of time, they might get up $50,000, $100,000, and you think, wow, that's going to pay everything. All the people he owes money to, right? He'll be on his feet by Monday. But that won't happen because, see, it's not about money. It's about that feeling of inadequacy. And gambling takes that away. So that person will sit at those tables, and it might take 2 days or 3 days, but they're going to give every penny of it back in search for a little bit more. And there's no dollar amount that makes a gambling addict say, oh, that's it. You know what? I made 50 grand. I'm done. Never going to gamble again. Life is good. It's a drug, people. It's no different than any other drug, right? So the big question, Andrew, is, what is it that drugs take away for you? What is it that you need dulled by drugs or alcohol or any other addiction? What does it take away? And when you can answer that question, getting sober becomes a lot easier. Is it an easy question to answer? It's not. It's one of the most difficult questions to answer in the world because it requires a staggering amount of self-awareness and honesty. And you know what? It's really difficult to be honest with yourself. It really is. Your brain certainly doesn't want you to be honest. So it's a difficult thing. But the answer to that is, I don't know what it is for you. I knew what it was for me. But if you can get the chemicals out of your body, a beautiful thing happens. The desire will still be there, right? But when you're sober and that desire comes on, very often it will say to you, subconsciously, okay, you need to go get high. And here's why, right? We don't feel good. And here's why. Now, are you going to remember that like that and everything's going to be perfect? Maybe not. You know what really greatly increases the odds of that? Mark knows. Write it down. Put it on a piece of paper. Info dump everything in your head before you go to sleep. And then info dump everything in your head as soon as you wake up. And you will begin to go back and read these things, and a light bulb will go off, and you'll go, good Lord, this is what it's been taking away from me, right? And, sometimes it sounds good on paper, but it may not be the real reason. I told everybody my number one excuse for using, the one that I could use without feeling any guilt at all, was they took my daughter from me. I'm not allowed to see my daughter. I got a right to get high, right? Damn right I'm going to get high. How else am I going to cope with this? Obviously the logical answer would have been, well, I'm going to become such a good damn person that they're going to beg me to have visitation. I'm going to become such a solid part of society that they're going to feel very, very confident dropping my daughter off to stay with me. Did it happen overnight? No. No, it did not. But that's what we're talking about. It is definitely an underlying symptom, and I have big faith that you're going to find out exactly what it is that's messing with you, and that's not just for you. That's for everybody.
Yeah, we're at the top of the hour, so you want to?
Isn't that true?
Yeah, man.
Well, I'll be damned. Maybe I can find that thing I dropped. I dropped a jeweler's loop. And amazingly, it disappeared. And it is my favorite jeweler's loop. I got about 100 of them, but this one is anyway. All righty, people. I will be checking for that shortly. We are going to be back tomorrow night. Same squirrel time. Same squirrel channel. And we're going to be talking about something viciously controversial. Something that'll annoy at least half of the entire customer base of everybody on the big red button. I can't back that up. I'm not really sure if we're going with that, but sounds good. We'll clickbait it ahead of time. You need to show up, people. It's going to be heavy. Definitely going to want to check that up. So please do check in. And you know what, people? Share this stuff out. You want to help the boat in 2023, and I say this with love. Don't send me an email that says, how can I help? Right? Here's how you can help. Hit thumbs up. Share this out to everybody you can possibly share it out to on every platform you got. That's it. Cut and dry. There it is. Share this. That will help the boat. Won't it, Mark? Tell them.
Yes, 100%. That's the best way to get any channel to grow. Anybody that has ever created a YouTube channel and does content, that is the single most thing. The algorithm be damned. It doesn't matter.
That's it.
It's the sharing that gets it. So,
yep. Yeah, exactly. Bury all that crap.
Don't matter if you're producing fire or not.
Nope. Fine. Doesn't matter. That was Yeah, that's so funny. It's a shame you don't know why that's funny, but that is so funny. Thank you, Mark. You made my day. Whether it's fire or not, people, just get out there and start sharing it. We will be back tomorrow night. Same squirrel time, same squirrel channel. I'm Captain Tommy Scoville, and on the other side of the glass,
Captain Mark Wages.
and that's a cat in a basket. And for all of you who say she's fat, look, she still fits in the basket. All right, she hangs out a little bit, but say goodnight, squirrel. Good night, everybody. We love you.